I just wanted to say thanks for spending some time watching this video. This is Georgia. Georgia is my therapy dog here in the office. And so I own and operate Watson Psychological Health Center. And Georgia's like, well, that fire's hot, so she's gonna go somewhere else for a minute. But I own and operate Watson Psychological Health Center. And I've had numerous people this year reach out and ask me, hey Ryan, what are you seeing? What's going on? How are people making it through COVID? I wanted to take a minute and share with you guys. I'm trying to reach people through this medium. This seems to be a good platform. There's a lot of ways that it can be done, but I love connecting with people. I love watching people overcome, and that's what I'm going to be talking today, overcomers. What is an overcomer? What are you going to need to do to be able to be an overcomer in this state and in this place and in this time? So what I want to do with you is just part of getting your attention, part of getting my attention is like and subscribe to this channel. If you're interested, hop in there, let me know that it's important to you, and I will continue to create these little videos because these resources take some time. And I've got a lot going on. The office is busy because obviously this is a COVID year. We're still in the pandemic and there's lots of things going on. So like and subscribe to the channel, and that helps me know that this stuff is important to connect with people and also just to keep this information coming. So overcomers, back in March there's been a lot of changes, and we shut the country down for a while, and people are trying to sort through this or trying to make sense of it. I've been posting some things on the Watson Psychological Health Page Center about the brain, because one of the things that I do here at WPHC is neurofeedback. So I actually look at the brain. I hear so many people say, I just don't want to go talk about what I feel. Okay, great. Come in. We'll work on some brain training. What is neurofeedback? It's just like taking your brain to the gym. And so as you take your brain to the gym, it's going to change those neural connections, the neuroplasticity in the brain. That's a good thing. So if you study Dr. Carolyn Leaf's work, The Brain, Switch on the Brain, Norman Deutsch, The Brain That Changed Itself, there's a lot of science out there that's understanding how we can change, how our brains don't have to stay the same. But one of the things that I often ask people, can you think and feel at the same time? Now, lick your nose. Some of you, I wish we could see your screens. Are you doing it right now? Did you try that? It's kind of like licking your elbow. Can you do that? There's a lot of subtle things in the way that God's made us. And part of being an overcomer is being able to deal with resiliency and stress. In Revelation, the scripture tells us, he that can overcome shall inherit all things. So I'm reading that verbatim right there. And that is really important because this year, overcoming, perspective, awareness, who you're around and what you're doing with your time is important. Because if you're not focused on the positive things, it is so easy to get distracted with the negative. So the negative can affect your organs in the brain like the periaqueductal gray, the default mode network. And those are huge important aspects of brain function and how your brain's doing, because it's going to help determine your behavior. And that's one of the important aspects. Habits are said that it can take 30 days to change a habit. Now, I would like to say, can we biohack that? Can we make it shorter? Can we make it quicker? Some would say no, others might say yes. I would like to challenge you. I would like to see if you can, because I see people do it all the time, and that's one of the things with neurofeedback that I do here in the office. I work to challenge awareness and perspective, and I also work to change the brain faster so that people can make better changes quicker, more efficiently, and feel more empowered in making them. Because if you've ever tried to stop doing something, whether that might be drinking Cokes or your sugar intake, there's a huge part of the health and wellness coaching that I do in here that we talk about, how do you want to optimize your wellness, not only your emotional and spiritual, but also on the physical level. And so some health coaching, because those areas are important to make sure that you've got some overall health and your doctor can help you with any diagnosis or any issues like that. But coming back to Revelation, he that overcomes shall inherit all things. Well, what needs to be overcome? Sometimes it's negativity. Sometimes it's, when I say poverty, I'm not necessarily talking financial, but just a spirit of poverty, not enough, lacking, you don't have enough. One of the things that we work to counter that is, me love me. Me love me. I know that that sounds a little weird, and people hear me say that all the time and they're going, Ryan, but me love me? What does that have to do? I love myself. Well, be intentional with your speech. Speak things into existence. As you think about an overcomer, those that can speak things that begin to happen. So, lean not under your own understanding, but allow the Lord to direct your path in all you do. That comes from Proverbs 3:5. One of the things that I'm constantly asking and praying is that, I lean not under my own understanding, but I'm asking the Lord to direct my path in wisdom, because a lot of people would say, God just didn't do that, or where's God at right now? I am who I am, and so the spiritual battle is definitely present. Now, I'm not saying that, there's darkness everywhere, but oftentimes the sin that so entangles can cause us to fall. There's been a lot of addictions coming into the office here lately. When you're in the midst of struggling with an addiction, and I'm just going to throw this out there, so if you've got kids, just hit the mute button for a minute. But whether it's porn or sexual or drinking, alcohol, substances, drugs, whatever the addiction may be, gambling, I teach people, help them to relax, and I can show them with that through neurofeedback and biofeedback and watching their body physically respond. And when you can get the body into certain parameters in certain places, you can get into a more relaxed state. That's really important when you talk about overcoming, because if you're always in your head, you're always thinking, you're going to constantly be dealing with stress. That's going to create difficulty in sleeping. That's where insomnia comes from. That's why people can't sleep, because they get going so fast. Their body is taken over and they feel like they've lost control of their brain. So, I often tell people, love your weaknesses. Codependency is a real issue. Codependent people stay codependent. Now, codependent is a slippery slope, but it's one of the things that I talk about and we often deal with in not overcoming. When we're codependent, it's hard. It is a challenge for people to really love themselves, because we're always dependent upon what other people are feeling or they're saying to us, or how other people treat us, or what other people say about us, or what we need from other people. And really what we need to do, for me, is I look within spiritually, and I really thank God for who I am and what I've been given. Now, what does that mean? Because a lot of people have different things in this world and in this life, but I'm so grateful for the things that I have. You can't measure my level of gratitude at this point, but with heart math, I take that to a different level, and it's called coherence, and it's your ability to get out of your head and connect with your heart in a place of joy and happiness. And so there's a lot of science, but you know what? There's nothing new under the sun, as the Bible says. And so none of this scientific approach is new. It's all just getting back to the fundamental basics. And that's what here at Watson Psychological Health Center, I work hard to help people transition to help empower that spirit of overcoming, that I can and I will, and speak that into existence. So, today, if you get something from this, just hit the like, share, but I want to leave you with an affirmation. Me love me, and my world supports me. Now, my world supports me is very important, because so many people aren't feeling supported. And as you begin to speak these things, remember, the average habit, science tells us, takes 28 days to change. I like to use essential oils and other natural modalities that help to increase the resignation. And when we do that, it empowers our senses. In connecting with ourselves, we have a lot of senses that we can use, but intuition's a huge one. And there's a lot of examples that I could think about with intuition. A lot of people are disconnected, because when you're emotionally numb, you're going to be disconnected from many of your senses. And reconnection is really about just getting still and listening. The pineal is an amazing organ in the brain that can really help with spiritual connection and so many other things. On the physical level, it also helps control melatonin and other things that can make a huge impact on how we feel and what's going on in our worlds and hormones. But it also plays, some people take melatonin for sleep, which helps us relax. So if we can keep our heart rates below 80, we can gain amazing insight. Now, when things kind of tend to move heart rate up and shift some of those things, that's really important. And you want to pay attention to some of those stressors that are doing that. But I've also created some resources. I wrote a book a couple of years back, The Miracle of Essential Oil with Jason Sapp. And so, I've got some resources out there. I've got some courses that I've created as well on YouTube and things that are closed and private, but they are available. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely leave me a comment. I can make those available for you. And there's easy ways to process all that and get that going. But affirmations are a huge part of starting your day off right. And your mindset for where you allow your mind to go, your perspective and your awareness. How aware are you? What is your level of awareness? Because oftentimes when we're stuck in our head, people get confused. And with confusion, lack of direction. And when we don't have direction, it's not going to feel like you're being an overcomer. And when you're not feeling like you're an overcomer, you're not going to inherit all things. Now, I just hope that this provides some encouragement for you today, that you can and you will if you choose to. The Serenity Prayer. It's one of those things that I really lean on, and I really encourage people to focus. The Serenity Prayer. I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. When you start applying this is a beautiful prayer that really begins to help empower people. What can we change in situations? And how do we begin to put focus and energy into making that choice of what we can? I see a lot of people this year giving their power away. They're allowing others to affect how they feel and what they believe. It's not about not being empathetic for other people, not sympathetic, not feeling sorry, but empathetic. Also understanding where they're at, because it's very easy to not have empathy when you've had a stressful day at a waiter or a waitress at a restaurant. And so it's easy to get mad if something goes wrong, your order's not exactly how you wanted it, or it's not right, or it's not cooked right. It's very easy to have increased stress level. Remember, fight or flight is a real thing. When pulse rate gets over 100, it goes into automatic fight or flight. And that's going to create all kinds of hormonal issues, and then it's going to lead to physiological problems. But coming back to, what can you control? You have a choice in how you respond, and you can do that. You just sometimes have to have the wisdom to know the difference. So I always come back to personal empowerment, how you choose to make those choices and what you choose to focus those choices on. Whether it's going through a divorce, that seems to be one of the things that's really been coming up here in the office recently. And, that's a very difficult time for a lot of people. There's a lot of emotions involved in that. Relationships can be very tricky. Trust, vulnerability, the codependency that can go into that. I can go on and on forever. The one thing I will tell you, the more that you invest in yourself, a lot of people, there still feels like there's a stigma to mental health. Guys, let's just say, we're only as strong as our weakest link. And so don't be afraid to reach out for help. Guys struggle with that more than women, and that seems to be something that we as men definitely need to deal with more, because there's a lot of great help that can be sought. And so I would encourage you this year, don't struggle through it alone, because you want to be that overcomer. Sometimes we just need a little help, because a lot of times we've been able to get by, but in times of immense stress and increased worries and pressure, it can really become a little bit more. So, seek help if you need to. Don't feel embarrassed or weak or shame. No judgment in that, and don't judge yourself for doing that. Just simply make a choice to love yourself. Now, I know that seems kind of cliche-ish and maybe easy, but really, that is something you can control, how you choose to love yourself. So that's what I want to empower you with today in being an overcomer. And there's a lot to the overcomer conversation. But hopefully this has given you some tools and skills and techniques that you could do to help you in your journey. And so hope that this has been a blessing for you guys. Stay safe out there. Take care. And we'll see you in the next one.